only one word to describe tonight's show, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Did I say it? I think I said it. I said it! Yes, Mary Poppins herself, Dame Julie Andrews is on our show. Yeah. I know. Oscar-nominated star of The Wolf of Wall Street, Jonah Hill, is here. And his co-star in 22 Jump Street, Channing Tatum, is on the show. I know. Plus, we've got music and chat from the uber-cool producer and musician, Pharrell Williams. Oh, you can scream. Oh, you can scream. Yeah. Now, that is Pharrell. More often, he is seen with his trademark hat, of course. By the way, if you do want to emulate Pharrell and get a hat like that, be careful, because apparently they come in a lot of different sizes. Yeah. The dangers of internet shopping. I'm going to be asking Channing Tatum about his varied film roles and, his willingness to appear topless, but only if the role demands it. For instance, like a scene on a beach, obviously, or maybe playing the part of a boxer, or just nipping down to the shops for a loaf of bread. We could keep doing this all night, couldn't we? 45 minutes have passed. Channing and Jonah are back together as undercover cops for 22 Jump Street. Now, I tell you, look at them there. You've got to be careful just firing your guns in the air like that. You never know what you're going to hit, do you? No. Oh, yeah. I will be talking to Julie all about the iconic Mary Poppins. There she is with Dick Van Dyke. Actually, are we even allowed to say Dick Van Dyke on the BBC anymore? So let's call him Van, okay? We're safe. He played Mary's best friend, Bert, the chimney sweep. It was a purely platonic relationship, although there is evidence that Bert did once try it on during a power cut. Of course, I'll be talking to Julie about The Sound of Music. It's such great music. Nowadays, if she wanted to play the role of a female singer in Austria, she'd have to look like this.
Hello, everyone.
Everyone's suited and booted. It's good.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Nice. Dame Julie and I want to announce that we're engaged officially.
There's a lot of bonding backstage.
Yes.
About 5 seconds worth, right?
Yes. I just wanted to come to England and on your television program to announce our love.
Now, obviously, I know you're familiar with the guys, aren't you?
Are you kidding? Of course I am.
Yes.
No, and we've been very familiar, haven't we?
Yes.
Wow, Channing, what's are you?
Are
you losing it? Are you losing it?
I don't know.
It's early in the evening. Shank in the evening will be...
Yeah, there's lots of Julie to go around. Yeah.
That is my future wife, so that's... A joke's a joke, but...
Yeah. But the thing is, because I was talking about the movies you've done, they are you kind of embody these kind of icons for us. It's kind of
well, yes.
Thank you.
Oh, that's great.
Sorry.
But no, because where were you? Were you in Switzerland when you bumped into the tourists, the Japanese tourists?
Oh, this is a true story. I was about to come to the London Palladium and do an act for about a week or so, and I needed to really get in shape. So I used to go around the hills and down, and round the hills and down, and in the mountains and so on, and I just to get the legs strong. And then one day I thought, well, this is ridiculous. There's not a soul around. So, honest to God, this is a true story. I was doing The Hills Are Alive, and a whole bunch of Japanese tourists came over. And the cameras and everything. Honestly, you should have seen their faces. And my heart went right down.
So this is good. This
well,
is good.
I did it every day, I'm sure, and I never did,
And now, talking of meeting the public, the last time you guys were together doing your promotional tour for 21 Jump Street, is it fair to say that got a bit out of control? Possibly. Probably.
Well, no,
I would call it a legendary press tour.
First one, yes.
Yeah.
But no, I'm talking about the one you
No,
just...
not yet.
That's not out yet.
No, we're selling it now.
Yeah,
That's
but when's it
Yeah.
coming? When's it due?
June
The 6th.
6th.
Oh,
June 6th.
Okay.
I think.
You'll be at the premiere with me.
Oh, yes, I will.
But, no, so they put you on a plane and just let you loose, it sounds like. Because where was it? Was the fountain in Australia, Channing?
Yes, that's actually, yeah, absolutely. I ended up in a fountain.
I need to hear about this. You know, if we're going to be getting married, I mean...
I need to know about my friends.
Yes, I know about your friends and what went on.
We were just walking home. Fountain seemed like a good idea at the time. Other people ended up jumping in, so I didn't feel as awkward. So
Yeah.
It was nice.
You started the revolution.
Yeah.
That was,
And was it in
It was
Miami?
raining, so everyone was wet already.
Was it
Yeah.
in Miami you lost your trousers, Jonah?
I would say I lost them by choice. That was,
You threw them away.
we were in Miami and we went out.
This was way before.
Way
Yeah,
before. You know what? I had to get out of my system before I found the one. So
I was going to say, what about the other night?
no.
He has a problem keeping
Listen,
his
let's just
pants
talk about it off television. So we're in Miami, we went out dancing, and then we went swimming in the ocean at 4 in the morning.
Of course.
And I just stayed, we got back in the car, and I stayed in my boxers, and then we went to go to a diner, and I didn't want to put on my pants, and Channing insisted that I put on pants, and I didn't feel it was necessary, since Miami's the weirdest place on the planet. I don't know if you guys know about this place,
No one
but
wears pants in it.
literally, a guy will get out of a white Lamborghini wearing a white thong just to go buy like crazy face plastic surgery. Like, it's the weirdest place ever. And Chan put my pants on me by force. I had shoes and
There's a lot
socks
of
on.
weird stuff going on here that I'm trying to get clued in here.
It was such a complicated evening, sweetheart. I don't want to... You can't live in the past. You have to just go forward, you know?
He was young.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know if your tour will be quite the same, Dave, Julie, because you are touring.
I will be going
yes.
on tour for a
Now,
little
it
bit,
kicks off in Birmingham tomorrow, and then you...
No, not tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh, it is tomorrow. Yes, it is
It is
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
My God. Sorry, jet lag.
Yeah. Friday, 10:30. It kicks off in Birmingham tomorrow, then Liverpool, 2 nights in London, and then ends in Bournemouth.
That's right. That
was short.
Very short, yeah. But long enough. You know?
You'll have enjoyed it enough.
A lot of zipping up and down.
Yes.
It's really just chatting about everything I've done. Lots of film clips, lots of outtakes, silly stuff. Some of it's very funny. And it's a good night. And the second half is all questions and answers.
And it's a great year for you to be doing this, because, of course, it is 50 years this year since the Oscar for Mary Poppins.
That's right. And next year, 50 for Sound of Music, too. I mean, there's a lot of 50s in my life all of a sudden, which I could do without.
And the weird thing is that Mary Poppins, you know, it's such an important film for everyone.
I shouldn't be saying that in front of you, because you're such a young boy, and you don't know that, do you? No.
Yes. Age is just a number, you know. I view it that way.
I want this to be true.
Yeah. This is a very serious night for all of us.
Will you be best man?
I absolutely will.
Hey, Mom, I'm marrying Julie Andrews.
Mary Poppins. What was the character in Wolf of Wall Street you played?
Donnie.
Donnie marries Mary, yes.
Yes, exactly.
There's a sequel there.
Yeah.
But that film, Mary Poppins, is so sweet and lovely, and yet it was it was dangerous to make.
Yes.
Which sounds ridiculous, then.
Well, yes. I mean, there were a lot of stunts, a lot of flying stunts, which they saved mostly toward the end of the film, because by that time, most of the film was in the can, and presumably, if an accident happened, it was safe, you know. Yeah, it's true, though. They saved everything until the last 2 or 3 days, all the high-flying stuff. And I was hanging around much higher than this studio, I can tell you, on wires in an excruciating harness. And it was my last day, and there were wires going along the back of the studio down to balancing equipment and sandbags and things. But I felt myself, while I was hanging around up there waiting for the shot to be set up, I felt myself drop by about a foot, maybe 6 inches, and I thought, oh, my God, my luck is running out. This is it. So I called down to the floor manager, and I said, excuse me, I just felt the wire give just a little bit, and when I come down, could you just be sure that you really let me down easy? And I heard the word go back along the length of the studio, Joe, when she comes down, let her down easy, Joe, let her down really easy, at which point I dropped like a ton of bricks. Too safe. And there was this awed silence, and I let fly with a few Anglo-Saxon four-letter words Disney had certainly never heard before. And then Joe's voice from way at the back of the studio yelled, "Is she down yet?" I never saw him again, poor fella.
I bet you did. Because we all grew up watching this movie, and Channing, you're a newish dad, so you're maybe too young to watch Mary Poppins.
Way too young. 1 year old. Just going to be at the end of this month.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Oh. But no, I read you really like this being a dad thing. You take it to
do.
it.
Yeah, it's a new task and challenge, and it's fun. It's fun. But the first year, you're just sort of an assistant. Like, really, you're just like, bottle, okay, all right, go. And it's really just all about the mother and the baby, and we have a beautiful, beautiful little girl.
Because you said... People like, ovaries are popping all over the studio. I'm ovulating now. Let's leave. Quick.
You should have a baby. Let's just stop talking about it.
Get on with it, yeah.
After the honeymoon, though, okay?
Yes. Whatever you want.
Yeah. But is it true you can still say it backwards? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yes.
I can't say
Do you want to
forward.
hear it?
If you can.
If I can. What do you mean, if I can? said Mary Poppins
Come on.
Docious fragilisticfragicalirupus. What's that? I'm pretty thick, but I've never understood the thing that Morgan Freeman said to you, that...
Oh, so this was about 10 years ago, I did a film with Morgan Freeman. It was a really small film, and the first 10 pages or 10 minutes of the film are us two just driving together in a car and talking, and it took 3 days to shoot. And he didn't talk to me the entire time, like in between takes, right? Because he had so much dialogue I learned later, right?
Okay.
So he was just, so in between we wouldn't really chat, but we were in the car together for 3 days. And then at the end of the third day, he just turns to me and he goes, "Jonah, Jonah, Babona, Banana, Fana, Fofona, me, ma, Momona, Jonah." That's it. And it was like super uncomfortable. I didn't know what to say back. It was one of the more weird moments of my life, And I just didn't know what to say, so I just said, "Thank you." And then he said, it was quiet again, and then he said, "Do me." I said, "What?" He was like, "Do my name." And I was like, "Do your name?" And he's like, "Yeah, do my name." And I was like, Morgan, Bo Borgan, Morgan, me, my, Mo, Morgan. And he went, "All right," and then we never spoke again. I've seen him since, and he told me he was messing with me. He was messing with me, which was hilarious, It's hysterical.
He's playing a long game, though. Instead of using 3-day joke. So listen, Julie, I don't know if you get a night off on your tour, but if you do, you could do worse than going to see 22 Jump Street.
Yes,
it is out on the 6th of June, correct. And it's the sequel to, obviously, 21 Jump Street. So you're back together this time. Now, I've seen it. It's really funny. It is a very, very funny film.
Thank you.
So tell the people what happens this time.
So basically, in the first one, we're cops. Chan and I are partners, and we go undercover in a high school. And in this time, we go undercover at a university. Pretty clever, right? So the first one, we really take the piss out of ourselves because we're saying that it's the most unoriginal thing ever to turn a TV show into a movie, right? The movies are very self-aware. And in this one, we're really taking the piss out of ourselves for making a sequel. And that quote-unquote second missions are always just worse and more expensive than first missions. And you can never recapture that magic. So we kind of make fun of ourselves throughout the film. And it's just really funny, a lot of action, and just a popcorn summer movie that you go and just laugh and have a good time.
Now, watching this, physically, Channing, Jonah, I would say you are quite different as actors. That's fair?
They look different, too.
They do look different. They do look different, Julie. But there's one sequence where you're both doing things, and Channing, you're very good at the things. And you are good at the things, aren't you?
I'm okay, yeah.
He is.
But like
Depending on what the things you're talking about, that's not very specific on the things. But...
Well, I don't want to spoil the film.
Oh, got it, all right.
No, but kind of the jumping and the,
All the stunts and stuff.
Yeah, you like all of that.
I'm pretty good at jumping.
Yeah.
He can actually fly. Like Mary Poppins.
Maybe I should sit in the middle.
Come on over. I might
But seriously, guys, no. Stay away from her with that
Yeah.
But so you like the running around thing, and Jonah, I'm saying you don't.
It's not that I don't like it. I just, whenever it's possible for Gianni, my stunt person, to do it, I allow him to do it.
Very big.
He
of
gets
you.
such joy out of it. I wouldn't want to take away that joy from him.
Are there girls in your movies?
Yeah, guess who gets the girl? Don't be jealous.
Oh.
This guy.
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
that guy.
Okay.
It's just acting, honey.
But now here's the thing,
It's
though.
not real life.
You would think that Channing doing all the stunts, that's how you would get hurt.
He's really good friends with the directors, so somehow he gets the girl. He doesn't have to do the hard stunts.
Well, also, I wrote the movie, so that really helps out. When you write the movies, you get the girl, you don't do any of the stunts.
Yeah.
You just kind of chill out and be funny and relax a little bit.
But
you know?
Channing, your worst injury wasn't a jumping thing; it was water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on this movie, but yes.
Yeah. So it sounds vile.
It's terrible. I was actually in Scotland, and
That isn't the story.
that's but I was in a hypothermic river, and we're in a wetsuit underneath the costume, and they're pouring warm water down your wetsuit all day to keep you get your core warm. And we had finished the day, everyone was tired, and here comes the guy with the bottle to warm you up. And what had happened was he had forgot to get down to the river and fill up the bottle that had kettle water in it, like boiling water, with river water, and they poured it down my wetsuit.
Oh.
And, it healed fine, though.
Yeah, but what happened?
It burned all the skin on my pee-pee off. Yeah.
You knew.
It's perfectly
Yeah.
now. It's good. It's really strange. It's pretty resilient down there. Girl.
It's pretty nicer with its new skin now.
Yeah, it's so great. Oh, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful.
A1. A1.
It's like there never was an accident.
Listen. Let's distract ourselves. We've got a clip. We've got a clip from the movie. This is from near the beginning of the movie when you're trying a bit of undercover role playing. I think that's all I need to say.
All you need to know.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Role playing.
Orderly, vato. We're trying to see that brother. Yo, Sleepy, what's up, homie? You know my cousin, Sad Boy.
I think you got the wrong guy, Holmes.
Everyone's saying about yo, Sleepy, he like the Mexican Wolverine. And my partner, he want to see that brother.
When he talking?
My name is Jeff. His girlfriend, man. And tell me that crazy adventure you guys had. Go into incredibly descriptive details of the stories we all know.
Oh, yes. Dakota, and Diego, and Swiper.
Swipe it.
And who was that you choked out, man? Oh, he had to call me. Who was that?
Good.
No, man, start over from the top. That's a made-up name.
You know, it's a really funny film. Because it is that weird thing, because particularly sequels for comedies, people do worry about them.
They always suck. Pretty much all the time.
Yeah. No, this is really good. Anchorman 2 is good.
Oh, yeah.
And this
No, there's lots of good ones, but usually they suck.
Yeah, they do. Talking of sequels, much excitement. Channing Tatum, Magic Mike 2. That's so what, is there anything, can you tell us anything about this?
It's going to be a road trip, and it's probably going to be more of the movie that you expected on the first one. It's a little more bigger and funnier and crazy. Just a good time on this one, I think. That's all I really want to say on that one.
Is this one of the things you kind of dread it, because you have to get ready to do that
It
movie?
is, yes, for sure. It's not a fun process, not eating anything good for about 3 months straight, and but yeah.
And listen, what I love about it, because a lot of actors, if they had a kind of, you know, if they'd done stripping, that would have been their secret past. And like, but you own it. You've made a big successful thing. Presumably people were telling you, don't do this.
Yeah, yeah, it was one of those things that I was fine with. I mean, I was 18, 19 years old, and it was a crazy time in my life, and I've got a chance to live crazy things and somehow survive them. So I wasn't really afraid of it coming out.
And look at who's laughing now.
Yeah.
You've turned it into a really successful franchise.
parlayed it.
So,
Yeah, it was nice.
I just wanted to, this amazes me. So in this country, when people are stripping, there's very basic jobs the strippers do. Like they're firemen, soldiers.
Ours too,
Yeah.
for the most part.
But you chose bizarre things to be.
Okay, well, The first ones weren't shows for me. They were more like hazing things. I think I know what you're talking about.
Because was your very first one a Boy Scout?
Yes.
Now, you think that's bad? This is the song he would strip to.
Hello, mother. Hello, son. Here I am. Camp Granada.
And then it stops and it's like, and you rip yourself off.
That's fantastic.
The worst part about that story is my sister came the very first night that I ever tried to shame me out of not doing it, I think, and that was mortifying.
So she knew you were going to be there?
Yeah, her friends all basically brought her, and were trying to shame me out of doing it, but I followed through.
In a good way.
In a terrible, actually.
You were nervous.
Yeah. And it was cold. It was very cold.
Talking about doing shocking things, of course, you, Dame Julie, in your husband's movie S15E08.
Yeah.
You went
Well,
Husband?
yes, well,
What? Husband?
We've all been around the block, Jonah.
Is this Blake Edwards?
Yes.
Wow, what a legend. You guys were married to each other?
are you kidding?
Oh my gosh.
Didn't you Google the other guests?
No. I mean, I knew that she's such a legend and he's such a legend. What a
That's
legendary
right.
combination.
I'm married to that lovely guy for 42 years.
Wow.
Honestly, Jonah.
Such a
We could
legendary
be so lucky.
couple. Oh my God. That'd be the only person I'd be fine with being married to except for me. My friend wrote a book on him, Sammy Watson. You know that?
Yes,
he
I
wrote
know
a book
Sammy.
on Blake.
Oh, God.
Can you guys go away for a minute? So, no, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, well,
How weird.
I think maybe most of the audience know he did all the great Pink Panther movies. He did Breakfast at Tiffany's and The Great
Such a
Race
legend.
and 10 and those kind of movies. But no, I had to go topless, but it was very legitimate. And I had, it took 10 years. to
Super
get that.
legitimate.
No, it was legitimately in the script is what I'm saying.
Okay.
No, yes, very legitimate, believe me.
Beautiful movie, beautiful movie.
She hadn't seen it 10 times.
No, you haven't. It's too young. It's too young. You love it. It's all about, it's a real takeoff on Hollywood. It's a very funny movie.
S.O.B.?
S.O.B. is, yeah. Oh, have you not seen it either?
No, I'm sorry, I
My
apologize.
God. Well, we'll play it on our wedding night. Okay. You love it. You really will.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
But were the people in Hollywood just telling you, don't do this? You're Julie Andrews,
No.
don't.
I mean, I'd done an awful lot by then, and I had, as I say, it took 10 years to get the movie made, so I had 10 years to think about it, and it was in the script and quite, as I say, legitimate, and it just can be cold in the studio. Didn't you find that? When you had
And it's a lot worse when it's cold for us than...
Yeah.
Chills help ladies, don't they?
No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, Goosebumps don't look particularly good on camera, do they?
I guess not, but...
This is so awesome. This is the funniest conversation.
It'll be your turn one day.
Yeah. Oh, in Wolf of Wall Street.
Totally.
Yes, you did. You did.
But that wasn't your own.
No, it was not.
It was someone else's.
It was someone else's, yeah. That'd be amazing. No, it was a prosthetic.
Yeah, it was your stunt double. You gave him the work.
Yeah.
Make him happy. But do you know what's weird about the Wolf of Wall Street? So all the really out there stuff that happened in it, you know, the nudity, the drugs, the language, but the scene that really upset people was you and the fish.
Oh, yeah, and a goldfish. Yeah, so the real-life person, that one of the characters that it's based on, ate a coworker's goldfish and fired him, and it's a really horrific, brutal scene because he's really degrading this guy. And we
And
did
the
it-
goldfish.
And the goldfish, exactly.
Yes.
And so Martin Scorsese asked me what I wanted to do, how we wanted to do it. And I said, well, the guy really ate a goldfish, so I'll do it. I try to do everything for real, and I was like, I'll eat the goldfish. And he came back to me and said, PETA won't allow... PETA is like an animal protection organization. They won't allow you to eat a goldfish. And I said, that's weird. And so he's like, you can keep it in your mouth for 3 seconds at a time and then have to spit it back into water. And so we show up on the day, and there's, no, I'm not kidding, there's 4 goldfish wranglers, minders of the goldfish. So the goldfish has 4 assistants from PETA there, which is 4 more than I had. And I put the goldfish in my mouth for the first take, and it immediately goes to the bathroom in my mouth. And so basically, I hate goldfish, and I'll never work with one ever again. Even if it's tasteful and meant to be in the script.
Doing it.
I've worked with cockroaches.
Oh, wow.
I wonder what you were going to say there, James Julia. Wow. It is all coming out tonight.
It's your mind. Graham, your mind.
When we edit the show, that's what you'll say.
Yeah.
Right, listen, we must get on. It is time to meet our singing guest tonight. He is the man behind the biggest selling singles of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Pharrell Williams!
My God, that's great. Look at all this, isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. And of course, actually, and Pharrell and Julie, you're both part of the Despicable Me family.
Yes.
Yes.
We never met though, did we, on the film?
No, but I was honored to know that I was working on the same project
Thank you,
as you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what is going on?
Hey, man, so she's kind of taken. By me and Blake Edwards.
Now, listen, you are going to sing for you. You're singing a new single, Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, sir.
And that's off the new album, Girl, both out now.
Yes, sir.
And now, this album, it's sort of your, is it your ode to women? It's your love letter to women?
Yeah, it's like an open love letter to women because they've been so amazing to me over the past 20 years. They've been so supportive. They never left my side. And I just, you know, when given the opportunity to make an album, I just felt like, you know what, I know who I want to speak to. I want to speak to that very special demographic that have been holding me up for so long.
Okay.
So, girl.
Yeah. And now half the audience is clapping. Yeah. But reading your bio, you seem like you are a fan of the older lady.
This is such bullshit. This is such bullshit. I'm not a singer. I can't compete with this.
Now that you put it that way. But I mean, you know what? That's why I learned most of my, you know, real lessons from. You know, I learned how to treat women based off of the older women that I hung out with, and they were so gracious and so generous, and they taught me so many things.
Hey. But no, the thing is though, you're not intimidated by women, because I read a thing where you, when you were working with Madonna on Hard Candy, like,
boy.
you stood up to Madonna, and that's
Well,
what, she sat there. She
but
is not easy.
But you know what? To her credit, she likes that. She likes that. She doesn't really like a super softy, you know. And I'm not like, you know, Hulk Hogan either. But, you know, at the same time, like, I was just very stern in my position and in terms of producing and giving her advice because that's what she hired me to do. So that was fun.
Did she like it all the time?
She liked it. But you know what? I liked it too. It is a pleasure to work with, you know, an icon, someone that I looked up to when I was young, that I thought was hot then, and like got a chance to work with her. Like that was amazing. Or like sitting here with her, like someone with such incredible, rich, regal musical history. And I'm able to sit here, you know, the Sound of Music. And
Well, you made a bit of your own.
And you really have, because every record on the radio seems to be, oh, it's featuring Pharrell or it's produced by Pharrell. How do you physically find the time to do all this?
No social life.
That's it, just work all the time.
Yeah, I mean, work and family, and that's just, you know, that's really, at this point in my life, you know, I'm 41, so that's like the most important thing to me.
A little old for you, don't you think? Doesn't seem appropriate. I mean, what do I know? You know?
Stop hating, Jonah.
No.
You're hating right now.
You're a genius. I'm just saying.
I'm not that.
You are, but you
Maybe
know,
it's
stay the
me.
fuck away from my girlfriend. That's what I'm saying.
So listen, you're going to sing for us, but very quickly, we must mention your tour starts on the 9th of September in Manchester, then you go all over Europe, and you're ending up in London on the 9th of October.
Yes, sir.
And you're about to give us a taste of what those nice people can experience on
I
tour.
am going to do my best.
Well, I've seen you rehearsal, it looked amazing. So if you'd like to go and get ready.
Okay, I'll shovel off.
Will you come back?
You come back, you'll come back. We'll see you in a bit. Very shortly, we'll have this week's stories in the big red chair. But first, singing his new single, Marilyn Monroe, it is Pharrell Williams!
Keep it this down. Put your hands up in the air if you're gonna come and dance with me down here. Come on. We're gonna have our own little party. Here we go. Here we go. Dear diary, oh dear diary, then again. Oh, that energy, I'm about to win. I close my eyes, visions appear. I love different girls. Here we go.
Quite the stage invasion. Yeah. Those ladies, they didn't need to ask you twice. They were like drones.
Lovely ladies behind you, too.
Well, yeah. They,
Yeah, bravo.
well, they're the girl dancers. We call them bays. And the singers that are there, we don't call them background singers because they're just as bright as we all are. So they're my singers, not background singers.
In the red chair. So who's up first? Who's there? Hello.
Hi.
Now look, relax. This could go really well. It could go really well. What's your name?
Phoebe.
Phoebe.
Phoebe. Like Phoebe from Friends.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah. Okay, yes. Very good. And are you wearing one short, one trouser?
No.
Oh.
Fashion.
Oh, is it a split in your? Is it a?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Oh, I see. No. I went. Oh, look, they're putting out to show us. Oh yes, lovely.
Nice knee.
Yeah. It looks like a small, bald man is down there. So, what do you do, Phoebe?
I work in property management.
In property management?
Yeah.
But this is obviously dressed down Thursday for you, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Friday. go with your story.
Me and my boyfriend went home for the weekend to my home, and my parents were quite sort of, don't be in the same room together alone, you can't share a room. Parents went out for lunch, weren't supposed to get back till later, so obviously we went to my room and started, you know, doing stuff, and it was getting going when I heard the door slam, heard Mum back, screamed, jumped up, panicking, couldn't find any of my clothes, only had a towel wrapped around me, tried to go outside until I heard this pop, and I was like, well, turn around, and my boyfriend was spread eagle, completely naked on the floor, dislocated his shoulder. I was screaming, I was crying, he was sweating, I was like, I have to go get my mum, and he was like, no, don't go and get your mum, and I was like, I have to, because she's a physiotherapist. She came in, put boxes on him, popped his shoulder back in, and we drove to hospital. It was really awkward.
It needed an ending. It was good. It needed an ending.
That's a good story.
And then we drove to hospital. Then we drove to hospital.
That's a great story.
Yeah. It wasn't good. But what the hell were they doing? It's good, isn't it? He was sweating. He dislocated his shoulder. That was all going on during that lunchtime. Do we have something else? Oh, we do. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
It's Karim,
And where are you from?
south of France.
South of France? Do you know him, Johnny?
No, I'm just imagining where this is gonna go.
So, what do you do, Kareem?
I'm a catering manager.
Oh, right. In London or in South
In
France?
London now, in
Oh, in London now. Oh, yeah. For like a big organization?
No, can I mention it?
Yes, please do.
It's SMMT.
Not SFMT. Okay. Off you go with your story, Kareem.
Right, and I used to be quite a good runner before, so I did a 10K quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I was leading the race.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
Very good.
Very good. And I felt something on my leg. I wasn't quite sure. I thought it was the string of my shorts, so I carried on running. A lot of people were cheering and cheering and cheering. And I felt great. Unfortunately, I was second at the finish. I crossed the line, everybody was cheering and everything. And then my friend came and said, look down your pants, and actually my wee-wee was hanging.
I'm just going to call out one thing.
Oh, Kareem.
I'm only gonna, before you decide that after this.
Okay.
The string is a little thin. You thought it was a string. I don't. You make your decision. It's your show. I'm point out all the
Is it
observations.
Kareem walk or flip?
Let him go. There you go.
He doesn't look like it would be string. It looks like, you know, there's a lot to Kareem.
I was so fascinated with the story, I wasn't thinking about it.
Do we have one more? One more. Okay, well, this is the last one. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Oh,
How you doing?
What's your name?
Sarah Jane.
And what do you do, Sarah Jane?
I'm a nurse.
Oh, lovely. In London.
Yes.
London. I am, yes. I'm next in London. Great. Have you stolen drugs? You seem high as a kite. All right, Sarah Jane, off you go with your story.
All right, so when I was a student, I was working in a colonoscopy day unit procedure place.
Tell me 1 second. I apologize in advance to Dame Julie Andrews. This story is not going to end well. Off you go, Sarah Jane.
All right, so I had a little old lady in her 80s come in. She was so cute. We gave her some medication, and anyway, we started the procedure. And anyway, they started inserting the tube, and she turned around and flailed her hands. She's like, now stop it, Daniel. I told you, you're not allowed to put it there.
That is a great story. You can walk, Sarah Jane. You can walk. Well done, everyone. If you don't enjoy this episode, have a go in the red there. You can. Just contact us via our website at this very address. Thank you so much to my guests tonight. Pharrell Williams, everybody. Mr. Channing Tatum. Jonah Hill. And Dame Julie Andrews. Join me next week with a packed sofa, musical guest Coldplay, British star Emily Blunt, Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane, Oscar winner Charlize Theron, and Hollywood superstar Tom Cruise, all here. I'll see you then. Good night, bye-bye.